And we're going. Let's talk about some daggum wish granters, or they're not wish granters. I don't know. Let's find out.
Maybe
Qui-Gon Jinn.
Yeah. What does he have to do with? Oh my brain is small.
Got him! Got him! Logan been got in
Qui-Gon
4K.
the Genie.
Qui-Gon
Oof.
Genie.
He's been drinking all that gin.
I've been drinking all them Genie bottles. Oh Lord, I'm seeing 7.
Hey, I'll tell you about my classic favorite Tekken character, Devil Jin.
Devil Jin, I don't know these things.
He's the
I didn't
guy.
come prepared with jokes.
Go ahead, what's your favorite Jin, Logan? Is it Jin from The Office?
The cheapest and the biggest, am I right?
Yeah.
Probably Jin from The Office.
Okay, now that everyone has left the video, we're talking about Jins this week, if it wasn't obvious.
The Genie or the Genies from... I want to make sure I get this right. From the eastern regions.
Yeah. What's the first
Islamic.
Old Testament / Book of Solomon, or was it like
The Quran? They're mentioned in the Quran. Is it just straight up the Book of Solomon? I am not a part of this area of religion, and I haven't done enough research to speak on it.
I know a little bit about the Solomon stories, because I know like there's Old Testament Solomon, then there's like the Lesser Keys of Solomon that weren't written by him, that was tangentially about him. But I'm fairly sure they were mentioned at one point in his story, and I imagine like in them they were seen as like that was just a word used for them, but they were demons. They were granting people's wishes in return for doing corrupt acts, their souls, what have you, as demons pretty much operated in the Old Testament.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard of that.
Mm-hmm.
I know. I forgot that good old King Solomon was the son of David, who those of us raised in that region of religion know was not eaten by wolves, which is an amazing, or lions, which is an amazing feat to do.
Yeah, I have to tell you that.
I so far have successfully not been eaten by lions my whole life either, so
that's good.
God's looking out for me.
I remember when old Grandpappy threw me in the lion pit and told me our faith would keep me alive, boy.
Turns out hiding under a rock
by lions make me stronger.
Yeah, no, David, the old giant slayer, he gave birth to the
that's the same guy. I forgot.
Yeah, David was giant slayer. Solomon was his son. That was based.
He was based. Oh, that dude was cracked. Solomon was crazy. He was basically the Demon King serving under God. Like, he was a monster.
He was he was basically the smartest man in like the world at that time. God would give him one request, and he asked for wisdom, and he's like, okay, you get to be smart. And part of the mythos behind him is he bound a bunch of demons under his control and used them to build the temples, and that's where he got to get little spiritual stuff kind of tied to him in that sense.
Yeah, so I actually looked into this pretty recently. He was, a favored servant of God, so he got all these fancy treats and accoutrements like our good old friend Job. And one of the main things that he had was a signet ring, not like an inherently magic ring that you could rub to get wishes for, which is what is in the original version of Aladdin. It is something that you would sort of stamp to approve, disapprove of, or take control of jinn, or basically Satan is what they're called. There's a distinction between jinn and demons in the same way that, because it's derived to some degree from Celtic mythology, that jinn are like fae, and Satin, or however they're pronounced, are akin to demons. So he could get control over these crazy guys, and in D&D, there's this area called the City of Brass, which is based in that fiction of the King Solomon God, if I read it right, and I could be paraphrasing, we're not taking everything seriously. We are not reputable, obviously. We're idiots.
Yeah.
But
Actually, don't listen to any of it.
yeah, click off right now and downvote so we don't confuse people.
And don't forget
Unsubscribe
black.
right now.
God gave him just like a geyser of molten brass, and people can't really work that. So he forced all these jinn through the power of his signet ring and devotion to God to build him a castle and a kingdom made of that brass as it was being formed, because they could endure the heat.
I did not know that's where that came
Yeah.
from, because if that's the case, that's fucking awesome.
He definitely did. That's the major arc of his story in Islamic tradition, is that he just controlled a fucking army of diverse jinn like a monster keeper, and demons too. And with God's guidance, which they like had to accept under his rule, he was just like, "Yo, build me shit, like do shit for me, be my
I'm kind of
slaves."
picturing like the Castlevania shit with like fucking Isaac.
Kind
like,
of,
having, like,
yeah.
a big army of demons and shit.
It's a lot like, what's his name in Jujutsu Kaisen, the primary antagonist,
Geto?
Geiko.
Geto, Geto.
Geito, yeah.
Get
A lot like Geito, where instead of like consuming their souls, he would just fucking like punch them on the forehead, essentially, and stamp them with his seal, which is I don't know the name of that symbol. It's on some flag somewhere, demon country. But yeah, he would just rule all these guys, and there was a point in his rule over this kingdom where he like lost faith or fell out of favor with God, and a demon took over his entire kingdom and stole his ring for like a while. But that is the. I think that's the initial. I'm sorry, I don't want to cut you off first. I was going to go into a little.
Now finish
Okay.
your thing, and I'll get into my thing.
Yeah, that's the lead in to Aladdin and the djinn in a bottle, where it actually was an oil lamp at that time, where David was this like, or not David, Solomon was this powerful kind of vengeful king, and he could do whatever he wanted with these jinn because they were intangible, like fourth dimensional beings practically made of fire. They were all sorcerers. So he's like, yeah, I'm gonna put this guy in a bottle, put that guy in a ring. My ring can do whatever I want with them. And I think there's some affiliation maybe with the first person that told the story, where this insanely powerful jinn trapped in this bottle in this dungeon that Aladdin goes down to get, I want to say that's the lion pit. That he like captured this powerful demon and cast it down there.
Maybe.
Like reused 200 years later. Not too, I don't know how long people lived, but
I want to say Daniel was in modern day Persia, if I remember right.
I don't. Solomon basically ruled over all of Asia.
Daniel was.
Someone in the comments is gonna blast us with fervent correction.
Someone in the comments is just gonna be like, actually, all of that he said is wrong.
Logan made that up, and I'm like, you got me.
Yeah. The one downfall of King Solomon, which I feel even narratively works better for making him this mad king that could control demons with magic, was basically his thing was he lost faith for a while and started pursuing means outside of God, where in particular he hired a witch to bring a prophet back to life to ask him to give him future sight, to be like, hey, what's going on? What's going to happen to my kingdom? And the prophet...
big taboo.
Yeah, and a prophet comes back and he's like, you shouldn't have done that, Solomon. Shame on you. And yeah, I started rebuking him. Who was it? It was one of the prophets from the Old Testament. I cannot remember exactly who it is off my head, but...
Let's call him Harold.
The moment you said a fucking witch, I just pictured Gruntilda.
That'd be even wilder if Solomon just approaches old Gruntilda, just like, hail, vile woman, I need you to resurrect this biblical being for me. And she's like, yeah, shit.
Sins and punishment.
Okay.
He blamed his wives for all the bad things he did.
I mean, that was like the other thing he did that he wasn't supposed to do was Solomon had like 72 wives, something crazy like that.
Jesus.
I mean, his dad, you know, the thing with his dad where he saw a woman bathing, his little voyeur man, and he was like, I'm going to kill her husband and put my wiener in that bathwater. So that was like the first record of gamer girl bathwater.
Sneezing a lot.
Yeah.
Sorry. I swear I wasn't jerking off
Sure.
at my desk.
My wiener's bigger than this, I promise.
I was being subtle. I sent you a text.
I know,
and
I
you're
saw
just
you.
like,
I
"What
saw
do you
you
mean?"
in DM, but I was just like, you know what? I'm just gonna address it right now. Everyone in the comments is gonna be like, "Oh, where's the lotion, huh?" Well, let me tell you, I don't actually have lotion on my desk. That would have
Everyone's
been
got
funny
the
if I
plague right
did.
now. It's fine. What? Oh gosh.
Nope, I haven't been jerking off.
I swear I wasn't jerking
Okay,
off. I
but,
don't have it.
Yeah, no, like Sins of the Flesh was something that ran rampant in the David bloodline, but
Mm.
I'm pretty sure that was the first inspiration that goes to Aladdin, which, correct me if I'm wrong, so there was 2 genies in the original Aladdin story?
Yeah, so there was the kickoff. I forget if his name is actually Jafar or if Disney made that up, but this evil sorcerer
Jimmy.
from, I think, Africa. He's from some region in Africa. He shows up and he's like, yo, I heard about this epic genie and an epic lamp, and I'm not going to tell anyone, but I need a little white boy to go down there so I can kill him and not risk my life. And he gets this little boy, and he gives him a ring that this sorcerer had previously. And Aladdin puts on the ring and goes down into the pit, and no problem at all, he gets the genie lamp. And he goes over to, like, leave, and Jafar's like, yo, give me that fucking lamp. And Aladdin's like, let me out first? Like, why is your foot on my forehead? And he's like, yo, give me that lamp, and then you can come out. He's like, okay, what? And he's like, you little bastard. And he seals Aladdin in there with the ring and the lamp like a genius. And then he's like, piece of shit. I got to wait for that little boy to die and get me another little boy and not give him a magic ring. So Aladdin's down there and he does not rub the lamp this time. He's like so fucking sad. He's like, oh my God, I'm going to die. And he goes like this. And he rubs the ring accidentally, like being all sad. And this little genie spirit, who initially was a guy, and then in later versions, it's like a girl. She's just a much weaker djinn. And and this is where the misconception of wishes from genies comes in, where she's like, yo, what do you want? Like, what's your deal? What do you need? Because these are not wish masters. They are slaves. They are just powerful slaves who are used to like being bound to items and they don't want to be killed. So they're like, what can I do for you to get you off my back? And he's like, I want to go home. Teleports him with the lamp and he goes back home. And then his mom is like, yo, this lamp's kind of crazy. So she starts to clean it so they can sell it. And that's what summons this apeshit powerful genie that can do anything. And he's like, yo, what do you sick bitches want? And they're like, I'm hungry. I'm very hungry. So he creates this massive banquet on silver platters and they scarf that shit down. And they sell the silver platters and they're rich now. That's kind of the basis of the story, is he just can acquire this stuff. And then it goes from there where he falls in love with a 14-year-old babe and then the fun stuff ensues. I think Jafar comes back and tricks either Aladdin's babe or his mom.
No, second.
Oh.
I'm sorry, that was the second movie's title of Return to Jafar. Stupid joke.
It's not canon. It was straight to DVD.
No, it's real. It's real to me, goddammit!
Stop, big evil Jafar. He's kind of
It had Homer Simpson in it.
And it didn't Jafar become a djinn in that, like, the first movie?
That was how he beat Jafar at the end of the movies. He wished to be a genie and wished for basically servitude at that point. So it actually was a pretty epic win.
You can't do that because jinn, according to the like cosmic hierarchy, are the same as humans. They're just different. They're no more powerful, really, no less powerful. They're just, where humans are made of clay, jinn are made from what's called fire without smoke. It's just kind of plasmatic, intangible energy. So wishing to become a genie, that's kind of racist. To be like, yo, can I be like one of you? And he's like, The fuck is that supposed to mean?
If we go with the biblical context, though, that would be actually metal if the genie just straight up murdered him and dragged him into hell and turned him into a demon.
Oh my god.
Yeah. I don't,
That would
because
be
they're
kinda awesome.
like I said, the little Satine or the Satan guys or Shatian. I don't know how to pronounce
I
it.
am
I'm sorry.
Satine.
I'm not even reading it
I'm
actively.
just imagining a little imp just like, I'm Satine!
Yeah. I'm
Yeah.
Satini. I'm Satan's assistant.
I am Satine.
He's dancing around.
He's a little pitchfork.
I'm gonna
It's
torture
just a
you.
silver fork.
Yeah. So in the original tale, the guy never becomes like a genie at all. He just tricks them to steal back the lamp. And it's funny because he takes all this stuff Aladdin wished for, and he's like, "Yo, bring that to Africa, like right now. All the people in it, they're mine." And it just like, okay, like in Wano, they just lift it up and move it over.
It's just
So,
take it up.
now,
Move
is
it
that
to the wall.
also where, like, genies being just kind of manipulative and they'll, like, make wishes kind of turn against you? So does that not come from that?
I actually haven't figured out where that came from because the major misconception of the idea of a wish.
I think it's
I
the
don't.
monkey's paw kind of idea.
Yeah, it might be a
Yeah.
derivative of the monkey's paw. The monkey's paw is a good example of that. But
Yeah.
jinn are not inherently evil or good. You know, there are ones that worship Allah and ones that don't, like people.
Uh,
And, you know, the dumb ones and the smart ones. And
you in the comments can decide which is
the,
which.
the ones who will burn and the ones who won't. Which is funny because they're made of fire. Yeah, so they just have access to sorcerer's power and they're invisible. They're on like a different plane, so they have inherent abilities. Beyond that, they're not necessarily mischievous. Most of them want to be left alone, like nature spirits or yokai or anything you can think of. They just want to be over there, like in abandoned places.
Okay.
Which is another tangent. I'm sorry, I'm fucking monologuing.
No, you're
No,
fine.
no,
But-
it's interesting. Because I'm trying to figure that out. Because I was initially the trail of thought I had was that would actually make a lot of sense if there were demons and demons are going from a biblical standpoint. They hate humans and they're like
Yeah, and they
God's
want
love.
they want to
yeah,
drive you to
stand
do
for
bad.
Fuck you.
I think it's jinn who have been spoken to by demons that do that shit.
Okay.
So there's like a little devil on their shoulder that's like, his wish is stupid. Fuck with him. Yeah.
Yeah, because
Yeah, like
I think that'd be interesting because that kind of would tie in as well with like demons giving people power and rewards, but it like is all in the idea of corrupting them or basically long term down the road, like making human lives worse in a way, you know?
Yeah.
there are.
Uh,
Oh,
it,
go
it
on.
is interesting. In Dungeon Meshi, there's a Merid, right?
Oh, uh-huh.
The little water spirit. So
Uh-huh.
they were incredibly accurate with that. Because you can't see Jinn, you can go into an area that's not populated or abandoned by people or animals, and you can assume that is a place that a Jinn resides. So you don't want to fuck with them. You don't want to accidentally, like, say, splash hot water on them. So before you perform these acts where you like throw trash everywhere, you ask for permission. And because she didn't, that's why the mayor got mad.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm done.
No, you're good. You're good.
No, Delicious Dungeon's always good reference for the show, honestly.
Hell yeah.
But that's interesting, though. It really makes me wonder where that misconception even started, because that's so ingrained in like wishes to this day. Like it might
Yeah.
be monkey's paw, like you were saying, Mario.
Maybe like because I'm trying to think of where the initial monkey's paw story came from as well.
I always think of the Simpsons gif, so my mind's already tainted there.
Because I feel like monkey's paw is kind of more of a recent thing. I say recent in quotation marks.
There's also like Fae. And Fae are mischievous. They'd like to fuck with you for fun, not to teach you a lesson. And
Yeah.
you know, it's more like in Islamic tradition, it's kind of God's job to teach you lessons. Not so
It's-
much.
Because it's I guess there's a funny thing with it where it's like it makes me think of that in the sense of because like what you were saying before of there could be like more nefarious kind of jinn or like more like good viewed kind of jinn, and it's just how in D&D there are like the straight up just like the air like the jinn which are like the air elemental kind of genie, which are
Yeah.
like the good, and then you have like I
The
guess
the Tao, the Marids, and the Afridi.
Yeah.
yeah, and those are definitely like those are various levels of just like Afridi being like far end of just like no, these guys
They
are
love
assholes.
slaves,
They're
yeah.
fucking
Yeah.
yeah.
All of them are
Um,
slavers. Just to what degree do they treat their slaves?
Yeah, and it's like
Yeah.
to the point even
pretty
with
much.
with the Jinn where it's like they're technically slavers, but it's more of a situation of like they'll pull people in and they'll want them around, but usually people want to stay because it's like actually this place kicks ass. I want to stay here.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
I think it is either the monkey's paw or just devil contracts.
That's
Just they compiled them because Fae and fairy mounds and stuff are from Celtic mythology, and that got stomped out by Christianity. That is a religious joke now. You can make fun of it all you want, and no one's going to get mad. But if you say anything bad about the current active religion, it doesn't work the same way.
yeah.
So I think Jinn are just kind of outdated. So since then, around the time that maybe Disney made that movie, they just no, because that's still derivative in a different way. Because the movie was just good wishes.
Uh-huh.
yeah, all the
They
wishes didn't
have to have been slapped together.
Oh.
What were you going to say?
only wish that had a catch in the movie was Jafar getting outsmarted in the end, but that was
Yeah,
that
it was
was
a major
less-
oversight.
You know what's weird is I think the most accurate depiction of Jinn we have had in recent media has been Jirachi from Pokemon, since Jirachi grants all their wishes within its power.
The same with Prismo, the Wishmaster. He's
Oh,
a
yeah.
great example of he is not malicious, but he has to work within constraints. And it's all about what you want and then how he can fulfill that. It's not about what you want the way that you want it, because he can't read minds, or he doesn't need to.
It makes me wonder then, because I wish I was kidding, where the only thing I can think of that's like a very popular Genie series aside from Aladdin is I Dream of Genie, the
Genie.
sitcom.
I'm not. Oh,
Yeah.
It's
I think that's where the Genie bottle came from, because I
think
looked that up too, and they don't really get trapped in bottles because they're intangible and kind of invisible, but
I was looking
they can get bound to items in the same way an artist is bound to their magnum opus. Like it's not this magic
Oh, I see.
trap. Yeah.
Looking up the monkey's paw, that is early 1900s, 1902.
That's
so-
recent too. What the fuck?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Which I could see, like, honestly, with that would make sense in the sense of, like, I guess, like, more current. If that is where, like, I could see that being, like, a big thing of, like, viewing wishes as something of, like, there's downsides to it. Like,
Yeah.
Because, I don't know. I guess, tangent in itself, what are your views on, like, if you were to handle a wish in a game, do you feel like it should have downsides?
Yes.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
To me,
Mostly because it's fun and games are about drama. So
depends on the wishmaker's intentions, because there's a wish concept I really like in Fate, where basically in Fate that wish to make a convoluted story short, basically if you gain a holy grail in the Fate world, the holy grail is a manifestation of all subconscious humans' desires and wants, and if you make a wish on that, it manifests it to the best way human desire can. But human desire in itself can be tainted, so your wish might not come out perfectly the way you want, because it's basically granting it in the means that you can be able to manifest and picture as well.
it could be just like limited to your own perception and understanding of how you want the wish to be filled, not necessarily how you word it, but you're like, all the things I'm not thinking of when I make this wish, like say I wish they never existed, which is a good example of how Finn played it. He's like, by whatever means necessary, he shouldn't exist in this world. And he faces the consequences of that because he doesn't know the Lich's functional impact in the world.
Oh,
so it's more of a childish perspective of like, oh, well, I think the world should be like this. And it's like, well, you're a child, so let's show you what that would be like and why it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because a
Like
wish,
I.
like,
Mhm.
if it's just a wish, it's a neutral thing. So whatever happens, happens, whether it's good or bad. But if it's like a Jinn doing it, like, say, like, an Ifrit obviously is going to, like, probably twist it a little bit. Like, they're going to make it to
Mhm.
where you might get what you want, but there's going to be a cost in it. Like, a
Yeah.
Jinn, though, might, if you're going with, the elementals being able to, make wishes,
Yeah.
like, they can, that's kind of my view on it. Is the way I kind of had it is, like, very powerful, like, ancient Jinns can grant wishes in my setting.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I think in the D&D book, it's like the
Yeah.
princes of air
The
genies are the only ones
nobles.
that can do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's like it's any of the jinn, but it's like it's any of the genies, I guess.
The
Um,
Janish.
I c- yeah, the jinn, because it's like because the Ifrit also can grant wishes, but and there's like a whole thing of that too, where it's just like, oh, it's kind of like a dick measuring contest, where it's like they love granting wishes because it's kind of like a thing of like, yeah, this is nothing for me, man. This
Yeah.
is fucking nothing. I could easily just do this, so I'll grant you a wish because you know it's a pittance for me. Like
Yeah.
it's like I always I always feel like wishes, even if there is like a wish granter kind of thing, like in the idea of like like say an Ifrit wanted to like use a wish spell themselves.
Yeah.
I always feel like there should be a downside, or like there should be a possibility that there could be a downside out of just the fact of if there are multiple entities that can just grant like universally altering kind of wishes.
The gods would be on top of that shit.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, well,
They'd be
it's
hopping
like
on it.
that. It's like that, but it's also like a thing of if there are things, if there are multiple things that could do shit like this, there should be there should be reason for them not to just use it, because it's like if anything,
Yeah.
I like the idea of just like they know better, so it's a situation of like
Mm. Yeah.
I have to be careful if I'm gonna use a wish because there's such a huge chance that this could backfire on me. Like even in the idea,
Yeah.
like the Finn idea kind of thing of just
Yeah.
like I can't just wish my problems away because I don't know how many variables that could affect.
Yeah, like, and also in Fate, he chose not to get the wish, even though he earned it just because his wish was for world peace, but he was such a violent man. It's like, all right, this is what your world peace is going to look like. And he literally just saw the world burning, and he's like,
Mm.
why?
Oh yeah,
What does this mean? It's like, the people
well,
that are
peace
left
whenever
have
there's peace,
peace.
you know it's dead.
And
Yeah.
he's like, no,
Yeah.
this isn't what I wanted. I wanted to live a violent life so no one else had to. And
I like that. That's cool.
yeah, so he just had a full, like, a psychotic break where he realized he lived such a violent, terrible life, and all in all, it was for nothing in the end. So
Mhm.
I kind of like that angle. Adventure Time again does it with the maid, the universe cleanup weapon,
Oh.
where while using this item or while casting this spell, you need to be fully, specifically, and cosmically aware of exactly what you're trying to accomplish. Not just like, or else it won't work. You could just get eviscerated by that raw magic if you do it
Uh-huh.
wrong. Where
Oh
like,
yeah, no.
if you can wish for, say, a sandwich,
Uh-huh.
and if you don't like know the ingredients or the general like what you want from that sandwich to be fulfilled for it to be tasty, those are mundane enough to where there's no complications. If you want like a sandwich with encrusted diamonds or whatever for some auxiliary or more complex purpose, that thing just might blow up in your face.
Hmm.
interesting.
I don't know.
No, no, yeah.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I was going to say, kind of to tie into it, I thought of my stupid question of the day.
Oh, go ahead.
All right, if you were going to, like, say just someone makes a wish, but you get to come up with the universal side effect of that wish to be a drawback for it, what would you make it be?
Wait,
Depends
run
on the
that
wish.
back.
If
Yeah,
you,
it depends on the wish, I think.
yeah, like I was about to say, if you just want to have a universal downside for, like, someone makes a wish, but this happens.
Makes me think
Oh,
of that
like
stupid
you
shit.
get $1 million, but someone dies, someone close to you or someone random, like stuff like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
It makes me think of that stupid shit post of I think somebody was like, Oh, I could twist any wish to like become like add
There's
a
a whole
downside
subreddit.
to it or something, and like all they kept saying was just like, oh, you break both of your legs or something like that. It's like an addendum. I'm just like it's like you get the thing and
Just
you open it.
unrelated.
It's super unrelated, and it's like someone goes, I wish I didn't have legs." And they're like, "Oh, okay, you break your hands instead of your fingers are broken now or something." So it's like something stupid.
Yeah.
I would say I would probably run it where it doesn't fit well in D&D, but it's a good consequence narratively. You cut your remaining lifespan into like 33%.
Oh.
Uh-huh.
You just take away all that time it would have taken you to otherwise accomplish this wish through natural means. You just lose all that time and you don't even get the experience of having done it.
I was expecting a joke answer. That's actually really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like the appropriate amount of time it would take to do that. And if you can't do that wish, if it's a big wish, you die and you don't get to see it fulfilled, but it does happen.
So Click from Adam Sandler.
Kind of. Yeah, pretty much. A very profound movie. I do want to say, Pact with the Devil, the whole thing with like, oh, I wanted this with good intentions, but it went wrong, is from Dr. Faust, which is a German legend from the late 1400s.
I learned about it through Shaman King.
I learned about it through Goat Story.
Look at us. Bunch of freaking weebs.
But Goat Story's not an anime.
Wait.
Dude, that's my favorite anime, dude.
Like, there's an anime called Ghost Stories. What do you mean?
Goat Story.
No, I'm talking about ghost stories, dude.
Hold on. I gotta.
You're thinking of the wrong thing.
Story?
Ghost Story?
The thing you're talking about, that's wrong.
Dr. Faust is in Goat Story. It's from Prague.
Oh.
It's Curtis Connor has a good video on it.
Okay, for whatever reason, there's like one of them like off-brand movie posters that was movies that was made for it.
It is an off-brand movie.
Okay, so you've seen this movie. You know what we're talking about.
Yeah, Dr. Faust is in that. I watched the Curtis Connor video on it. I haven't seen the entire movie. I have seen some of the scenes from it, but
it was like some Donkey Ollie stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Y'all need to Google Goat Story for at home. I am intrigued by this.
It's free on YouTube. There is sex, even though it's a children's movie.
Nice. Now I got
There's a lady who's got nails that come from her boobs. It's a wild ride.
What?
This is epic.
Yeah. It's pretty epic.
This is more.
There's a guy who gets his eyes gouged out.
This is sounding like a DARE program to make me not want to go to the Czech Republic or have sex.
I don't want to go to Prague. Put me to work.
Why did I say to? What did I say to Czech Republic came up somewhere on here. Why did I say to Czech Republic?
I think that's in the Czech Republic.
Was this made by the Czech Republic? I know I saw that when I was looking into this. No,
Prague.
it's okay. My mind autocorrected that. It is a
capital and largest city
animated fantasy. So it looked like it's Czech.
It looked like Czech.
Yeah. It's called pronounced the Czech Republic, but it is Czech.
Okay.
The more you know.
And that's where all the gin are.
I'm fucking tangentially up. I've been talking about Goat Story for 6 minutes.
Fucking have you guys like used genies at all or done anything with gin in your games before?
Yeah, I have actually. That's actually been a recurring thing in my campaign where they freed one in one campaign I had, and there was a thing where a few players were gone for a few weeks, and the water elemental the mayor they just freed was just like, hey, why don't we go celebrate back at my home? And they're, okay, so they go to Elemental Plane of Water, and when he goes back, he wants to celebrate. Well, it turned out he was royalty there, and he basically hosted a tournament for a bunch of extra planar beings, and they all just took bets on their champions from their planes, and the few remaining party members that were there just basically had a 3v3 tournament with a bunch of other extra planar people.
That's cool.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so it was fun. It was just one of them. and that's something I've done a few times now. Where if I know some party members are going to be gone for a few weeks, like, hey, y'all want to just go to the water plane for a little bit and just mess around?
I love that.
Yeah, so that became a fun little thing I've thrown into a few campaigns. I made it a plot point of a recent campaign where there was only one way to cure someone was a wish, so they ended up finding out about his tournament instead of gaining a lot of notoriety at this point. And it's like, hey, you put on a good enough show for me. I got you.
That's cool.
And that's pretty much how I established that rule. I'm like, okay, so if they're going to do this, I'm going to make it to where the wish giver consciously makes the decision, am I going to try and screw this person over or not?
Ah.
So it ain't just like really a cosmic thing. I do like the idea of throwing it out to the cosmos, and the cosmos decides whether the effect of it.
Mm-hmm.
But in the case of the Djinn, they're just kind of have the say of it. Okay, this is how it's going to go. Well,
I don't think I've used them directly in my games. In Tesseract, I used like a big magic dragon that could grant wishes as like a god dragon.
I remember that. Yeah.
But in Sunken Isles, I have a hidden location called the Wishmaster's Conclave, which is where one genie prince from each of like the 4 elements just has is sort of like it's a deep underwater area and it's very immaculate, but it's like a vacation cabin or like timeshare. And they all go there and just smoke crack and have fun and play games. But people who like find that area, there's a gate for each of their like realms and their homes. And you can activate them to summon that genie, and ringing around those gates are rhyming lyrical poems that tell you how to sort of befriend the genie. So one, you have to speak his name. One, you have to get your ass kicked by him. Another one has like a different thing where you have to like give him the gem of another genie because they like to fuck with each other. But just sort of these fun, kind of pointless riddles that these incredibly powerful elemental princes just kind of have.
Nice.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Right.
I've had I technically have something with genies in my current game. Players haven't encountered it yet, but there's like a kind of convoluted thing of just I remember somebody asking me, trying to get like background idea of like, okay, how did your world start or something like that, which was a very on the spot kind of situation. And in the end I came up with the idea of just like, because there would have been a point where humans didn't exist and there wasn't like that situation in my setting where like deities would have been like brought into being. I think what literally happened was just, the only kind of plane at the time that existed was just the elemental plane. And at some point, some elementals became conscious, and these were like the first Jinn or the Genie, and like I basically decided there was basically like one of each. They ended up entering the material plane. They started like fucking with stuff, and they made like dragons and giants at some point.
Okay, cool.
And it was just literally out of the thing of like, maybe when they first showed up into the material plane, they saw like dinosaurs or something. They're like, we can make those better, and they just basically made like dragons. And like after leaving them there for a while and like going back into the fucking elemental plane, eventually they come back and like they see humans and they're like, we can make those better, and they made fucking giants. And then
I like
eventually,
that they kind of come back and then they leave and they come back and it's like mold growing in a petri dish. They're like, oh,
yeah, it's
people
like
now. It's like weird
like-
monkeys.
because in the end, my idea would just be like, because something that I get the vibe of with the genies is they're kind of like man children, where they have all this power and they have all like the whatever they could fucking do, and I feel like they're just kind of bored most of the time, so they're just fucking with stuff, and so because like, I don't know, like a lot of the stuff that I've seen with them is like obviously they're smart and they're like capable of a lot of things, but in the end they have like these traits that come off as a bit like narcissistic and like just kind of like they're just kind of looking for their own little delights here and there. So it's this thing of when they see humans, my idea of just like them taking on like humanoid forms is out of just like they want to mingle with humans. So the last form that they probably took on was just like, oh, let's look like them. So they end up like taking on like some of their customs or whatever. They end up like having clothes and stuff like that designed off of like their own shit. They end up kind of probably looking very gaudy because they want to have like the most expensive like intricate bullshit on them. And it's this idea of just they end up making giants, and the reason that genies are in lamps is probably out of giants at some point have their own religion, their own like idea of like how everything works, not really knowing what genies are. And then at some point they find like genies basically come back into the material plane, see what's going on. Giants find these things, they realize how powerful they are, and they're like, we gotta stop these things. We gotta contain them or something. So they end up tricking them into like a not necessarily lamps, but like some sort of containment thing. And now like in my setting, there are like just a handful of these like little things of like there's probably like a single djinn for each one, and they just like exist in these things. And like probably I've debated whether or not I want to have a city of brass, but if there is one, it's probably like a leftover thing of like the initial like the single ifrit that exists made a city of brass, and now it's just been left unattended. So there's just
Got
like
bored.
yeah.
It's
But,
like that play place that you build for your kids, and then
yeah,
they grow up,
basic.
and you're just like,
And
I like that.
but
Yeah.
yeah, I'm planning on having a situation where the players are gonna find like the Jin one basically somewhere, and they're just kind of pissed off. Where I like my idea would just be like they might have some idea of self awareness, but there's been somebody left keeping the lamp out of the hands of people that don't deserve it. So there's just like this genie that's been stuck with like this dragon that's been guarding it for like a long ass time, and it's just fucking bored in there, and it's just waiting for somebody to fucking use a wish from it,
Yeah.
and it is just
That's
really
really
hoping
cool.
to fuck
Yeah,
with them.
I like that. That's a really cool idea.
But
Yeah. No, I think closest to that is kind of expand on it a little bit. That's similar where I had of just basically the princes of each of the elemental planes basically are just very haughty noblemen that are just basically having a pissing contest with all the other kinds of jinn, well, genies,
Yeah.
where that was actually part of plot point was a villain in that campaign was actually an Ifrit who was sending his Genasi kid to basically raid and pillage the material plane, and was taking back a rare treasure back to his plane just so he can show it off and host these very fancy auction parties and just be like, look at these rare stuff from the material plane. And it's just like a base you'd get at old Walmart.
That's awesome. It's like a bunch of trash from other planes. They're just like, look at this amazing, beautiful work of art.
This beautiful fucking thing.
Yeah, where it was some humans stumbled upon an ancient elven ruins, like, ooh, I bet there's some good stuff in here, and a djinn just like kind of sweeps in, like, y'all want to work for me and mine this area? Not by choice. But yeah,
Mandatory internship.
They fought him off the plane. They run back into him in this tournament. They fight him in the tournament again, and then it became later on basically a big MacGuffin piece they needed was in the auction house on the in the City of Brass. So they had to have a little art heist to get it out.
I love that. Art heists are really cool, especially like auction heists where there's such a big risk on the other side of the wall.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun, just describing all these crazy extraplanar beings that are just all there.
Like Sigil.
Yeah. That's always fun to experiment with, which that was just kind of fun to design. Is just like these very haughty noblemen that are all just trying to one each other up, and the Tao and the Ifrit are trying to kind of lord over and just try and get some of the strongest fighters via illegitimate means. But the Marids just kind of like, all right, I'm gonna give y'all something y'all like if y'all make me look bad. If not, oh, y'all ain't ever coming back, and y'all ain't getting a Christmas card either.
God. Okay.
But fun stuff. We're getting kind of toward our wrapping point. So now for our fun little thing. How would you rate our little Jin boys, you little Genies, you little Robin Williams, you little Will Smith, if you will?
Could we actually? I don't know how close we are to the end, but I want to hear if, say, a genie showed up right now and gave us collectively three wishes to make Among Us.
To make Among Us the game? No,
I would wish to make Among Us. It's a good game.
Genie's like, I love that. I love that game. We should play Among Us.
Okay, obviously, I'd give world hunger. You know, just me being. Okay.
Yeah, everyone dies.
Yeah, I know. Not okay. So is it going to be like we wish?
No. Let's not do
If
shit
I
like
could,
that.
if I could wish for fucking like, because I guess it's like trying to figure out how it would fuck with me. But it's like a situation of like, oh, if I could wish for anything, it's just like, I guess I would wish for like.
And I would say in the meantime, Chuck, the wish for world hunger is a tough one because that would be a biological continuous surplus of everyone can eat and no one dies from starvation. So collective global populations would rapidly increase and we would all die.
Oh god.
But everyone's happy for as long as you live, and I'd say that's fair. Fuck it.
I did think of the actual serious one I want to do, just because I think it'd be really handy for the country, and it's something I want personally. I mean, because obviously, like that is probably what I would wish for, but like just obviously the silly answer, I want a functional bullet train system across the entire North and South America. And I want them to all look like Thomas the Tank Engine and have realistic voices.
It works, but they're all paid to ride.
Well, I would
That's
expect that, but it would be nice not to have to deal with airport. That's what I expected you to do. So, okay, there was a train 911. Now getting into them, it takes an hour.
9/11 most foul.
Okay, all the trains are made. Then the genie runs around and punches them all to death.
He punches them, and you see the little Thomas the Tank Engine faces like grimace. They're like
realistically groan in pain as they die.
No, that's what I'm imagining. Is just like they're actually on fire from coal burning, and you just like the train takes off, and you're like, ah! And you hear that.
Why would you do this? Oh.
Me going from Alabama all the way to Southern California, just hearing that screaming.
The Thomas the Tank Engine trains are like they work, but the downside is they have like they're actual living beings. They have like organs and shit on the inside.
People have to like feed them. You have like train tenders, and there's like injuries where they bite at them sometimes. I think I would probably wish for the ability to turn anything I choose at any given time into any material I choose.
Okay, the wish for superpowers is sick.
Yeah. But they're limited to me, so the damage is minimal. And the worst thing that can happen is I get killed or captured for this ability.
Okay.
Or someone stabs out my eyes, and then fuck it. The genie's just like, all right, fucker, you get your wish.
All right. If we're doing it where we're setting
you
each
get
other's...
this, but you break both your legs.
Okay, if we're
You go
doing it
blind.
where we set each other's...
Oh yeah, you guys could pick. That's mine.
I'm
then.
going to say the only way you can do this is by licking it, and you have to full on like slather it and taste everything.
You have to.
My saliva, like, do I have to make contact with my
You're like
tongue
Steven
and
Universe.
also cover it in my saliva, or like once I pick the definition of what the object is, does the whole thing turn?
Yeah, you gotta at least give it a good old slob. Like you gotta like give that thing a good old lick.
Is the percentage of me slobbing it based on the size of me or the size of the object?
Size of the object.
I'm making a lot of gold cocks.
You gonna make a fortune in Bad Dragon.
Yeah. Actually, that would be cool. Well, not
You have
like
like
if I
the
could see it, but
tongue.
yeah, it has to fit in my mouth for me to be able to change it. I like that.
That's the downside. I like that. That's a pretty decent
pretty cool.
downside. That's a fun one. Like if I was gonna make, I was gonna ask for something fucking more like, I guess sensible in the sense of like I was like, oh, I would wish to like not have to worry about living expenses anymore or something like that. Just like, nothing too crazy, nothing like I'm rich or anything. I could live like a
Yeah.
frugal life and just not have to worry about that.
I fucked up
But
my wish.
fuck that. I wish I'd have like stand powers, and the downside is now there are stand users trying to kill me.
And the red thread connects you. Yeah, you just go on a bizarre adventure.
Yeah, I wish that I have a stand, and the downside is now other stand, like by me having a stand,
Yeah,
other
they're all
stand users start to
approaching you.
manifest, and
Yeah.
they're like all
Yeah, the
all
red
stand
thread
users
ties you.
must-
They all start showing up
Yeah.
at wherever
Yeah.
Mario Land is.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
You're going to go walk your dog. You're just going to look outside, and a single street lamp is just on like a Michael Jackson figure, just moonwalking toward you in the night.
The wonder of you.
If you had a stand, which one would it be? Like out of the existing ones?
Out of existing ones, oh man.
Okay, real quick, I'm gonna throw out what the wish that I normally would think if I actually made one.
Oh,
This
yeah,
one was
yeah.
just off the cuff fun. I wish for everyone that I care about to be at peace and happy
That's a good one.
That's
for the
really
rest of their lives. Just for the rest of their lives. That's good enough.
The downside is they break all of their legs.
But they're okay with it. They're at peace and happy. I'm fine with that.
I think mine like I know I made the world hunger joke, but honestly, I think I just wish for people to be content with having just enough of what they have. So like,
Yeah.
the problem with this world of people being too greedy would not be a problem.
Another cosmic one I would have would be I wish no one on the face of the earth for the rest of time could ever care about more than 50 people at a time. Anger or joy. Can't care about more than 50.
Okay.
That would reduce, like, pollution would immediately vanish. We would go back to, like, minimal pseudo tribes, and it would just be good. I think.
I don't know. I feel
Yeah.
like there's a point with that where it's like if you can only care about like more than 50 people at a time.
Yeah.
I feel like that could also turn into a situation of like you have no empathy for like people outside of that circle, so it becomes a thing. Where
But that's already true. That's already true for a lot of people.
I guess
I
that's
got a
true
big
too.
family,
Yeah.
so I'm going to make friends of someone, really vibe with them, be like, "Yeah, sorry, Grandma.
Sorry,
you're,
Grandma.
You're 49.
You gotta die."
You're getting dumped out of the circle.
Your Facebook friend groups determines who you can see in the world. Like the rest is vanished cosmically.
I get your
Fuck, I'll-
reasoning, but yeah.
All the stands are really tough. I like just immediate instinct without thinking about it. Arts and crafts, deadlocking things. That's a good one
Oh
for
yeah.
for the stand powers.
I feel like one that's really overpowered. And I remember somebody, I threw this answer out at somebody, and they were like, "That's fucking evil." And I had like a completely different mindset with it, but it was I was like, "Oh, dude, Heaven's Door would be fucking awesome."
Yo,
Heaven's Door is the cheater's answer. That's
That's the
easiest.
cheater's answer because it
Yeah.
could just be like, because especially too is like Heaven's Door gets stronger. There's like points where in like later stuff with Rohan, he like straight up uses Heaven's Door on like a piece of chicken or something like that.
in JoJo lands.
It is not Leon,
is this
but like
as told by Kishibe Rohan? That's
yeah,
yours?
yeah. I think
Oh.
in that one where it's like he was checking the
Okay.
expiration date, but that's also like a thing of like, what are the implications? like,
You remove the presence of bacteria in the chicken, like you're just God. He's just God.
yeah.
I didn't know
It's
you
like
could even
fucking-
do that. That might change my answer, but I'm trying
No,
to.
don't.
I'm trying to think of one that, because just by pure cool factor, Gyro Zeppeli's is probably going to be mine. Just because.
Oh yeah.
Really? Okay.
I absolutely love Gyro. He's my favorite JoJo character. And I don't know. His was simple, but it was still cool.
Yeah.
Oh, now that I think about that,
Kind of underdeveloped.
yeah, the stands really weren't the high point in that series, but Gyro Zeppeli is consuming my consciousness. But as soon as I said that, I'm like, Wait a minute. Civil War would actually be a cool one.
The toy soldiers? Or no, what is Civil War?
No, wait. I'm trying to think of Ringo's from Part 7's.
Oh, fuck.
Hold on now.
Oh, the guy with the turn time back like 8 seconds.
Oh yeah.
Come on.
That's
Mandem?
silly. So my mouse is
Why's it
dead,
called
so I
Mandem?
can't actually end OBS.
Nope.
Oh,
You
oh,
wanna
what?
discuss
Oh
amongst
no!
yourself? I'm gonna
Hey,
go grab a
guys.
battery.
Means we can say horrible things,
Don't do
and
it.
he won't cut them off at the end. Is there a localized name for his stand? Mandem is, yeah, it's just Mandem or Mando. That's a terrible name.
Dude, imagine.
If I were to cheat, fucking Golden Wind. That's another cheater's answer.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That just
like,
wins. That's
Golden
centered
Requiem,
God.
just fucking,
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, Golden Requiem actually sucks. That would not be a fun stand to have. Just Golden Experience.
Oh no.
Yeah, the life, like just the
Requiem
general,
would be
like, life
terrible.
powers, yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
like,
it's life, and then all that life becomes immune and reflects damage back against the attacker. It has like 78 different variants of its ability.
I hate
Like,
Golden
honestly-
Experience Requiem so much, man. Like,
It's so busted
I
and
Honestly-
nonsensical and changing. I'm sorry.
If not like Heaven's Door, I feel like it's also like it's still really good, but it's just like being like having something like Crazy Diamond would fucking kick ass because it's just like, dude, you could just heal people.
Yeah.
Just like
that
fix
would be a really
things.
good one just for practicality's sake.
Yeah.
Then you
Fucking-
could heal me.
I could heal you. I could fix.
But I wouldn't.
Yeah.
You can fix
I think the only downside to fucking Crazy Diamond is just like if you're pissed off, if your mind's like not in the right place, you could break things. You could fuck things up too. Like it's like when he was like just standing there super pissed, all the furniture around him started like warping.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay,
Fuck
so Ringo's stand was Mandem.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I honestly just rewinding time by 6 seconds, I think that's the one I'd want. That'd be pretty sick. If not like
You say
if not
That'd be
Star
pretty
Platinum.
a cringy thing by accident and you just rewind time by like 6
Yeah, or
seconds.
if you say something and read like a bad reaction with it. 5 seconds is pretty good for social
Yeah.
standing. And if you could do it every 5 seconds, like
Yeah.
that'd be good. That's like testing all your dialogue options.
That's
God,
kind
that
of
would be such an unhealthy habit.
Yeah.
Freezing
Your
time would
brain
be,
would just change.
yeah. Freezing
Sorry.
time would be cool, but like yeah, rewinding time just by 6 seconds, that's monumental. That's huge.
Yeah.
So that's going to be mine's Mandem, and also Ringo just absolutely rocks. I'm going to become intolerable as soon as Part 7 comes out.
They did that in the last episode of Futurama. They gave Fry that power.
Oh, to just turn back time like a couple seconds.
He jumped off the Vampire State Building and looped back time, causing a time break in reality.
Did you see the
Because
Vampire State Building?
it was a good episode. Yeah, no, that's the joke.
Oh.
Like vampires run it.
Oh.
Yeah, that wasn't a mental typo. That's real.
I thought that was like a Freudian slip for a second.
But yeah, no, we're right at the hour mark, so time to give our
Right.
ratings. So, what is your rating on the Genie?
I'll give it a 4.
A 4? Okay.
4 to 5. Okay. I mean, there's like 3 different types of genies to pull from, and then 4 different subtypes of every variant. It's like, what would you rate Fae? So I would give them. I'd give them a 5.
Really?
Wish
Okay.
granting or no, I think there's enough to do with them.
Yeah. I feel like they could honestly be like a big campaign centerpiece kind of thing because of how they are. And that's like there's honestly a ton you could do with them. It just in that sense. Like they could be a villain or like a fucking like I don't know, like super like they could like basically how I'm using one right now is they're just kind of a MacGuffin. But yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to say the same. I'm going to give it a 4 as well. Just I like it. Aladdin's still to this day my favorite Disney movie, and even though that isn't exactly right, they're fun. I like them.
Yeah, that's fun.
Yeah, it's one of the times where it's a change in something. Okay, this is actually a fun like idea, but also I don't know. It's also like it was a fun for the sake of Aladdin was a good dude. If it was anyone else, it'd be horrifying. But yeah,
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, even in the original story, it's not great.
Mm-mm.
yeah. Because isn't Aladdin not that great of a person in the original?
No, he just wants to be a king. He's super greedy. The guy who asks him, or the guy whose daughter he wants to marry, is like, "Yo, give me like 42 platters of gold, all carried by virgins who are guided by eunuch slaves." And he's like, "Yeah, yo, Genie, pull that shit up." And he does. It's like, hey,
As you do. And,
yeah,
Yeah, Jasmine was 14 in the
Prince
original.
Ali.
I'm pretty sure.
Cringe.
Yeah,
Aladdin.
cringe.
Come on now.
He
You were my
what's
least
his name?
favorite of the 40 Knights. Come on.
Getting his name mixed with Zap Brannigan again. The fucking pedo hunter.
Zach Brannigan. I'm Zach Brannigan. Oh, you're thinking of Chris Hansen.
Chris Hansen, thank you.
Oh.
Yeah,
Their names do
Chris
have like the
Hansen.
same amount of consonants to it.
Same flow, alliteration.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah, that's fun.
Yeah.
Comment which of the 40 Knights was your favorite, I guess.
1001.
Percival.
I was thinking 40 Thieves. What's wrong with me? I'm going to end before I embarrass myself. Bye.